Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham of Goodforthegame.co.za, and welcome to this Stage 2 betting preview of the Tour de France. Apologies if I sound a bit groggy. I've got a bit of a cold at the moment, and I can tell you I spent the whole day on the couch watching cycling and cricket. Heartbreak for South Africa in the cricket, by the way. We'll get back to the route in just a second, but if you do enjoy these shows, hit the like button and the subscribe button, and also the bell to make sure you get notified when we upload a new preview. Well, Stage 1 was everything we expected it to be in terms of a really hard stage. In fact, I hadn't realized how hot the weather was. I mean, guys were really battling out there. Mark Cavendish dropped on the first climb. I honestly didn't think he would make it to the end within the cutoff, so full credit to him. I mean, I think he still had something like 150-odd Ks to go and was like, gee, how does the guy recover from this? But absolutely superb, and that made a nice little sideshow watching that as well. But in the end, I don't think many people would have seen the actual result coming. We never had the GC action on that final climb. I think they all sensed that, there wasn't really that much to gain. Everybody was hot. It'd been a real hard stage. But when Bardet went across to join his teammate Frank van den Broek, I didn't think that was a move that would succeed. And frankly, I thought Van den Broek will do a little turn or two at the front. That'll be the end of him. What a rider this 23-year-old is. Definitely one for the notebook. And I'll be watching his progress with interest both throughout this tour and going into the future as well. He was superb, and I actually think he was stronger than Bardet in the end, although it was always going to be the team leader who took his first ever yellow jersey. The pair of them, they held off the charging peloton by 5 seconds in the end. There were various times where I didn't think they were going to make it, but in the end, with about 500 meters to go, you could see the job was done. Well done to them. Brilliant ride by Team DSM Firmenich. And of course, Bardet will be looking to defend that yellow jersey. Good sprint by Wout van Aert there in third spot. He had said he wasn't in great condition coming into the tour. Well, clearly, he's not in such bad condition. I suppose we'll have to see what his stamina's like. And then I found it quite odd that Pogacar sprinted for fourth, but then I saw a tweet afterwards that basically says it was so that his team could get high position tomorrow on this finishing circuit. Because if you get a mechanical and your team car is right at the back, of course, you've got to wait a long time for support. So Vingegaard didn't have to worry. He had Van Aert sprinting for him, but Pogacar sprinting in fourth and beating the likes of Mats Pedersen and Aramburu and even Van Gilze, who rode a great ride. I wanted to mention Pedersen because good to see it looks like he is focusing on the green jersey. We'll look at the betting for that now. And then Victor Campenaerts, I've just highlighted him because he showed up a few times on the screen today looking very comfortable on the climbs. And I think he's one to note perhaps for later in the tour. He could be a factor. Just thought he looked good and wanted to highlight that, something that I'm hoping I don't forget over the coming weeks. He could be a factor. Right, let's have a look at the jersey betting. Not a lot of changes here. I mean, there were no real shocks amongst the GC. And Gadu was never really going to be a factor. He had a terrible day. But Pogacar there is trading a little bit over 13 to 20. Vingegaard just over 23 to 10. And you got Roglic at a 9 to 1. Evenepoel at just under 17 to 1 there. Those are the top four in the betting. Mountains classification, you've got Pogacar at 4.2. This is net decimal, so that's his actual odds, 4.2 to 1. And Jaconi still at 6.23. I must say, BetX have got some very nice prices on their long-term markets. The points classification, I thought Pedersen might shorten, but he's still around about where I backed him at 7.78. Van Aert, though, has shown his condition, and he has shortened. If he does focus on this jersey, it'll be hard to beat. But I still don't think he's going to do that, and I'm not sure that he'll mix it up in the true bunch sprints. Philipsen, he beat Pedersen into the in the intermediate sprint to show that he does have the speed over him. He then faded out after that, but he's still trading at around the same price, just under 9 to 10. A reminder, if you are going to have an outright bet, and particularly on a short price favorite, then this World Sports Betting special is good. Get a refund and free bets for your second place finish up to 5,000. So I'll show you the betting now, but if you wanted to back Pogacar today, I would definitely suggest doing World Sports Betting. That way you do get a refund if he comes second, and there are T's and C's on their site. Back to the route itself, and we got some really steep climbs, but nothing like what we had today in terms of total climbing. And I think this is great news for the likes of Cavendish. We've got about 70 kilometers fairly flat here. And we'll probably get a battle for the break. We'll come back to that now. You then hit the two Cat 3 climbs, 2 kilometers at 7.5%, and then 1.2 kilometers at 12.8. That's really short, but it's also really steep. We then have another 1.9 kilometers of just under 7. 2.7 Ks at 7.7, and then you've got the two climbings of the Col de San Luca, 1.9 kilometers at 10.6%. So a bit of beast at that. 36 kilometers to go, you start the circuits, and you ride this hill twice. And the second time they do it, there are bonus seconds, at the top. So we can expect the GC guys to go for it if the break has been caught, and I expect it will be caught. And then you've got about 10 kilometers down to the finish from the top there. So today was a lot longer to try and hold out from the field. Tomorrow, if you can get over with a decent gap, you've got quite a good chance of holding on, especially if there's a bit of confusion behind you. Let's have a quick look at the stage betting now. Pogacar, he's around 13 to 10, 27 to 20 there. As I say, if you are going to back him, go for it at World Sports Betting because you'll get that second place money back. Roger, he loves these sort of short, steep climbs. He's just under 8 to 1. Wout van Aert just under 10 to 1. I'm not sure, if Wout is not in the greatest of shape, and I mean, it's hard to say that after what he did today. But if he isn't, then this is the sort of stage which could find him out. He's a lot bigger than some of the climbers, and he might struggle over the really steep inclines. Remco Evenepoel, he's at just under 16 to 1. And then I just wanted to mention Mathieu van der Poel because he faded quite early today, but I've seen that before from him. He is that type of rider. He can have a bad day, and I don't think he expected to contend today. He did say it was too hard. And he has said this stage could be too hard, but he's the type of guy who can have a bad day and come back and ride brilliantly the next day. So look out for him there at that price. I am going to quickly pop back to the route and have a look. What do I think is going to happen? Well, I do think that the DSM team will let a fairly weak break go. I mean, the advantage for them, normally at this stage of the tour, you've got like 3 or 4 guys who are out of contention for the yellow jersey. Here you've got, I think I saw something like only 55 guys within 2 minutes of the lead. So it'll be quite easy for them to let a weak break go over this flattish section. And they're not going to be bothered to chase it down, quite frankly, if there's no one who can endanger the yellow jersey. But there are plenty of other teams who are going to want action. And when we saw today, we saw the likes of Visma coming forward. We saw Ineos. We saw UAE put it down at some stage. The teams will work. There's no doubt about it. And there's a lot of them who fancy their chances in this stage. So I expect the break is going to get caught. And I think it will get caught before the final ascent of that Col de San Luca. And then we're going to have all sorts of action breaking out on that final climb. It is very steep. And going to be very interesting to see what happens. Pogacar, I'm sure, is going to try something there. But I don't know. It's so difficult. There's no value in his price there at sort of 13 to 10. You just can't have him. These races are not easy to control. This is the Tour de France. He doesn't have necessarily the best team for controlling on the flatlands either. So he's fine he's got teammates on the climbs. But we're going to have all sorts of things happen. I suspect what will happen is either a solo man over the top or a small group. And there's not going to be much time for collection after that. But I think ultimately we'll probably have a few guys coming to the finish together. Perhaps a small one, not a smaller group than the 2-man we had today, but certainly the chasing group might be a bit smaller. Remember, guys must also be pretty tired after that stage. Let's have a look at my bets. I'm going for a Remco Evenepoel. He's looking in supreme shape, lost a lot of weight since the Dauphine, and I like him at just under 16 to 1 at Bet Exchange. For him to win, he probably needs to go solo over the top of the climb, but he is the sort of guy, if he can get a little bit of a start over the others, he can ride away. And you could easily get a situation where, and I use Evenepoel as an example, he goes clear and there's 3 or 4 guys behind him, but if they are all GC contenders, they'll be looking at each other and not necessarily chasing him down. And then I thought this man was overpriced at World Sports Betting, 125 to 1. Almeida, he was riding very, very well in the Tour of Swiss up the climbs. He likes these short, steep climbs. Obviously, he's there for Pogacar, but I could see a situation where Evenepoel or one of the others maybe make a break, even someone further down, and Almeida manages to get over the climb, sit on the wheel, and then win the sprint finish. He is quite nippy in the sprint finish as well. I just thought that price was too big. Not getting too carried away from a betting point of view. I will post any other bets if I find any match plays in the forum. There is a link below for that. And I'd like to hear what you think is going to happen in the stage. Let me know your predictions in the comments down below. That brings us to the end of the Stage 2 preview. I'll see you Sunday night or early Monday morning for Stage 3.